All right, welcome back. So you've got a nice setup here with the lighting. And so what we want to do next is just change this background from this dull gray color. I mean, we want it kind of watery looking. So what we'll do is we'll click on the world settings. Okay, so just in the in this menu here. Okay, so it looks like a little globe. And you can see here there's a horizon color. So all we'll do is just click on that and change that to say more of a blue color. You probably want something dark blue, and then that's all you have to do. If I press F12 now, just looks a little bit better. All right, so we're going to do our final animation, which involves the submarine here. So I'm going to press escape to get out of my rendered view, and I'm going to use that quad view. So I'm going to use the quad view here. And this one I'm going to make sure I set up to being my camera. Now, what I want you to do is we're going to have the submarine come from just off camera, come in to the center, rotate away from us, and then head off into the distance. Okay? And so how this will work is I'm going to basically click on my submarine. And I'm going to make sure I'm on frame 1, which is right there. And just using that top view, I'm going to pull the submarine, oops, just a second there, just out of view. Just zoom out a little bit, more room. There. So actually, I'll just leave it just in view there. So that would be fine. Okay, and what I'm going to do now is insert, and I'm going to do a location rotation, because we're going to end up manipulating not only its location, but also its rotation. So we put that in. So what we're going to do then is come to about, sure, frame 30 is fine. And what we'll do is we'll bring it in so that it moves into frame. Okay, so again, I'm going to take this top view, just drag it, and then let it come into about center there. So that's good. All right, and again, location rotation. So notice it's always go to the frame first, do your movement, and then set the rotate or set the keyframe. So now I'm just going to rotate this. So I'm going to just change this to my rotate tool. I'm just going to grab it, and I'm grabbing it in this view, but I'm just looking in the camera view. And I want something sort of like that. Okay, so the idea, maybe a little bit more. It's up to you. I just want to be able for it to stay in view as I move it away. All right, so again, I'm going to press I, and that was my location rotation. I'm going to go to my final frame, which is frame 100. Okay, and I'm going to zoom out a little bit here. And what I'm also going to do is change this to the move tool again. Now, right beside this, you might notice it says global. Global refers to sort of the world coordinates, so X, Y, and Z. We can change that to what's called the normal, or sorry, the local. We'll do the local here. And what that does is it orients it towards the, for the object. So the object has a front here. Because we've rotated it, its front is no longer sort of the same as the world one. So what I can do with that then is it makes it really easy to just shoot my submarine forward. Okay? And I'm just going to get it so that just almost off camera there. Okay? So that's fine. It's still in camera a little bit, but just leave it there. And again, hit I, and that's the location rotation scale. Sorry, location rotation keyframe, and we put that in. So let's see what all that looks like. I'm going to go back out of my quad view, and this is my camera, and let's watch our movie. So there it is, just in frame. Press play, comes in, moves away, and then takes off. Okay, and that's it. Okay, nothing too exciting, but that is your first movie. And you can take a few little pictures. So that's what I did there. Just move along. See that the lighting looks okay? Yeah, everything looks pretty good. The blue looks nice. Okay, our very last step is to render it. And now there are different ways of rendering. This is just one way of doing it here. And so what I'm going to do is go to the camera. Oops, let's get out of this view here, I guess. Go to the camera, and we're going to do a few little sets. I'm going to keep it at high def. you can see here you can render it at different stuff. HDTV 1020p, that's basically what we had there. So we'll just leave it like that. We're going from frame 1 to 100. We're going frame by frame. Like I said, this movie is only going to be about 3 seconds long, just over that. It's running at 24 frames per second. Okay, that's typical of movies. So actually, usually I've always had it set to 30. So actually, this is going to be closer to 4 seconds here. The other thing that we have to worry about is down here, we want an output. You can put it on your H drive or the desktop and then later bring it in. Okay, I'm going to put it on my desktop just to make it easier for me to find. And I'm going to just call it sub. Make sure you accept. Okay, and the other thing that's very important is that you change your type. And so we want to make sure that we change it from PNG, which would just render 100 pictures, to this H.264. That's usually what we use, but it doesn't really matter too much. I'm going to use H.264 there. And then all I do is hit animation. Okay, and so what's going to happen is that hopefully, there it comes. Just we were zoomed in a little bit there. It's just taking a series of pictures. And so in total, there's going to be 100 pictures. It's already done 12 now, and it will continue doing that for 100. And basically, it just moves it each one frame. So it does the interpolation, figures out where the sub should be with what rotations, and then takes the picture, and then does it again. And so this sort of process here is called rendering. Now, it's taking about, on this computer, about 1 second per frame. Okay. I'll tell you a little bit about Toy Story in class, which was one of the first rendered movies. Well, it was the first fully computer animated movie. And some of those frames took days to render, basically. And they had, hundreds of computers, what they call sort of a render farm, series of computers that just do the rendering. And that's because you've got layer upon layer and a lot of detail. This is relatively simple. We've got 2 lights and a pretty simple object. The more complicated you get, the longer the render times. And you can see actually the render times have gone a little bit longer now, mostly because we've got the full submarine in here now, so it's taking a little bit longer for it to calculate everything. So I'm just going to pause it, and then I'll show you what the movie looks like when we're done. All right, so my thing has finished rendering. As you can see, at 100 frames were done. And the very last frames didn't take much time because, again, the object was a lot smaller. So let's go view the film here. And so you can't really view it in Blender. I'm just going to make sure I save this, because basically I'm done. And I got to just find it on my computer. There it is. And voila. There is your movie. So that's the sort of goes through all the processes there of doing some modeling, doing some animation, doing some simple adding of materials, worrying about the lighting, setting up the camera, and then rendering your film. So that basically goes through all the steps on a very simple level that you would go to make a movie like Toy Story or whatever the case might be. All right. So what you're going to do next is basically create your own movie. And I'll give you a few hints about that in class. And hopefully you can make something that's really cool to watch. Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed it.